of course, things didn't go as planned, and I didn't fall asleep right after that last video, so of course, can't do one, gotta do another one. I want to talk about video games and how much I love video games. I first discovered games when I was a little kid. I went over to the next door neighbor's place, and they had an old computer. It was like an old Tandy or whatever, I don't even remember what it was, where you have the old, square disc, you put it in, you click down the thingy, and type in, a bunch of commands, and you can load up a game. And I had played, I think it was Miss Pac-Man the first time, and my mom came and got me a couple hours later, and I had a layer of sweat on my forehead because I was so into this game. So, this is going to be really boring if you don't like games or don't know anything about games, so you can just put this one away. Just close it. Just go back to whatever you were doing. So I've been playing games ever since, and I remember when I was a kid, it was kind of like, you were a geek if you played games. Ooh, you're such a loser. Nintendo, no friendo. But I've stuck with it ever since I was a kid because I loved it so much, and I saw the potential that no one else did. And then nowadays, everybody plays games, almost everybody. It's pretty rare to find someone who doesn't play games, in some form or another. Because, on your cell phone, you can even play, Bejeweled and stuff. That's what my mom really likes, stuff like that. But I think if I would have been born in another generation, I probably would have been playing card games. Instead, card games are just as fun as video games, believe it or not. Play poker or some of those types of games are just great. Or Asshole or something like that. Fun. It's so fun. Or Bridge or anything like that. So yeah, video games are pretty amazing. They started out as one guy did an oscilloscope or whatever. I don't even remember what it was, and he ended up making two. It wasn't Pong. Pong wasn't actually the first video game, but this guy that made his first video game, I don't even remember what it's called, Space something or other, wasn't really like a game as we know it. It was just you can move two dots around or whatever. It was pretty basic. And then Pong came out later, and then leads up to nowadays, and we have different generations of old computers that used to be able to play games, and then you had your first console systems, and it's been back and forth between the computer and the consoles now forever. And consoles have finally got some kind of even footing versus the computers, which is pretty amazing. Personally, I've been playing a lot of emulators lately, where you download a little program that mimics what a Nintendo would do, and you download the ROMs, which are like the games. So you open up your emulator, you load a ROM, and it's kind of like it fools it into thinking it's an actual Nintendo with an actual controller. Runs exactly as was. But you can do a lot of cool stuff with it too. Like if you're playing the old Ninja Gaiden, which if you've ever played it, it's not easy. I'm one of the few people I know that's beaten it. You can do a thing called the save state, where you hit a certain button, and it'll take almost like stops time right there. It doesn't actually stop anything, but it takes a save of your exact moment wherever you are in that game right then and there. And then say if you fuck up right afterwards, you can hit another key and reload that exact moment. So games usually have some kind of save password thingy, or you can just use the emulator to save, and it just saves you exactly wherever you want it. You can load it from that point as many times as you want. So it's great. So yeah, and you can also, certain games, like I'm back into Phantasy Star 2 now, and it's amazing. I hated that game when I was younger because it took so long to finish. It was fucking forever. You're just walking around forever. The game is very long, takes you forever to get anywhere. The fights take 3 minutes apiece. So now when you play it, you can crank up the speed. You can increase the megahertz on the game, so it actually plays faster. I think you can roll it up to 8 times or something like that. So if you're walking around on a map and you know it's going to take you 12 minutes to get over there, minus whatever fights you're going to have to fight on the way, you're in a safe area, you hit the speed up button, you walk super fast, and if there's a fight, you just spam the fight button. And if if it's an easy fight, you don't want to waste your time picking each, you can just zip, 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 and it's done. So yeah, there's a lot of advantages nowadays. A lot of old games to me are becoming very entertaining, even though I've got a PC that's got 2 gigs of RAM and a GeForce 6800 GT, which is not super up to date, but is really still kick-ass for right now. So it's kind of amazing how well these old games stand up. I don't know if it's just me that some people miss their childhoods just because they're nostalgic for their childhood. And I don't know if it's actually because I'm missing my childhood or if it's actually because things were better when I was a kid. But games I found were a lot better and everything. And everyone says this. I miss pixelated graphics. Like everything is 3D now, and that's the way, kind of has to go. You have to have everything 3D. That's just normal. But I miss old pixelated graphics with the little, when you have 3 tones. Like say if you have a blue jewel and it's light blue, blue, and then dark blue. Right? I love old pixelated graphics, and I really miss MIDIs, which are the sounds that you would hear in a Nintendo, which is kind of like the music in the background, like the beeps and all that stuff. You can actually, a lot of really amazing music has been written for old Nintendo, old Sega games, like Genesis, Super Nintendo, anything really, and then even up to nowadays you're getting full scores, like full orchestrations for certain games, a lot of games actually. But I just love how much you can get out of a MIDI back then. I can play a MIDI and just feel super happy, like it's, I don't know, it's like a jingle but in a video game form, I don't know. Love it. So yeah, crazy about my video games. It's very rare I can sit down and just not, like, OCD, I'm always thinking, brain just won't shut up for 5 minutes. Even sometimes I can't sleep, like right now I got so many things on my mind that 5:41 and I don't know if sleep's coming anytime soon or what. But yeah, it's nice that I can sit down and put on a game and forget about everything for a while. Some people do drugs or drink to do exactly that, but I can't do drugs. They make me too paranoid. I've tried them a couple times and they freak me out, man. I hate it. And drinking, I sometimes can't even. I will go to a party and just drink all night and not even feel a thing because I'm still kind of zoning out. Like I'm just not quite in the mood to party or whatever. It's just I won't get drunk at all. But video games are something you can sit me down in front of and I won't think about anything else. That's it, the game. So growing up, of course, everyone's like, oh, Jamie, you should go out and play. They're worried about me because all I do is play video games. But most parents should be happy to have something that they can put their kid in front of that will occupy their time, even for an hour or a half hour. Even I would sit there for 8 hours. I didn't care. I'd eat. I wouldn't forget about eating or that type of thing. But pretty much, I would just play straight through because it's a lot of fun. And now look where we are with video games. We've got a ridiculous amount of processing power, but fun, not always. It's just like movies, right? Better CGI graphics don't necessarily translate to a better movie or a better script or whatever. It's kind of like you had to use your imagination a little bit for older video games. Like you're playing Zelda and it looks horrible compared to for nowadays standards, but you're just this little square guy with 2 little eyes and a little sword, and you're walking around just poking things, and I don't know, you can get pretty excited about it. My pulse will still race if I'm in a game and I'm doing something that's like I've never been here before. Oh, you know what I mean, that type of thing. Less and less now than it did, of course, but once in a while. Speaking of emulators, I played Wonder Boy and Monster Land. Like I love old Sega games. I grew up playing our Sega arcade games. And Wonder Boy and Monster Land, I almost beat it one time, and I had this like glow. Like I couldn't believe it. I had this like happy wash over, endorphins feeling like after you have a jog or whatever. And I couldn't believe how happy I was. And it's stupid that it's a video game, but it made me really happy. So, I don't know. Games to me, are pretty personal and pretty, like, I always was more comfortable interacting with a video game console than I was meeting other kids and stuff. That's not to say I'm not, like, social or whatever, but generally people that play a lot of video games tend to have nerf social skills, and for a long time I found I was kind of having trouble, but I knew what I wanted to say, but didn't know how to say it type of thing, So anyway, yeah. I made this drawing. I want to show it. It's a fun drawing. It's back in the old Phantasy Star, which is a lot of fun. Phantasy Star 2. So I thought, I got a pen and made a couple quick sketches. It takes me like 10 seconds to do a little sketch like that. It's pretty quick. Artistic background. That's the other thing I'm really good at. The one other thing I'm good at. Oh, I have this other thing, but I can't tell you about it. Well, try for sleep now. Video games are good. Don't be like when I was a kid. Don't you pick on that guy playing video games. He's cool. He's really cool.